most people fear their happiness, they fear their release from these things. And I believe this is because as you release yourself, you have to give up the stories of why you needed to contract in the first place. Let's say you had a childhood that was very contracted. Maybe you had a teenage years where you really started to form a solid identity and a solid structure of defense mechanisms against a perceived outside world. And when we create this structure around us, which was never really needed, but when you're in those vulnerable positions when you're young, we create this because we don't know what else to do. The world seems very chaotic. It seems harsh. We have a lot of love inside, a lot of softness. And a lot of us harden that softness to the point where we look in one day and we think, hold on, I don't even know my joy anymore. I don't know my aliveness, my expression. Who am I? And so this big who am I, one, it's very good for learning that you are pure emptiness, or Brahman, or everything, nothing, there is no solid identity. But also, who are you in your unique energetic signature? It's almost as if who am I was a question for the 20th century, and who am I takes on a different flavor for the 21st, which is, so many of us lose who we truly are in our expression of joy, which is unique to the collective. You're all beautiful beings with your own flavor of the infinite that's trying to push through you, it's trying to come through you. And so what I started to see was most people were seeing the subconscious as this dark place they had to work through. And once they've done all of their duty, once they've gotten through all the darkness, then they'll give themselves the permission to explore their light, their joy, their love. And love and light does get a lot of bad rap, but I'm not really talking about the bypassing sense of light. I'm talking about this real Shakti, right? This juice, this aliveness, this sex, this creativity, this joy, right? The pushing the boundaries, not outside of yourself, but it's a juice. And I think this really came to me today because in South America there is so much passion and fruit and sugar and sweetness and Shakti, really. And growing up in Europe, things are very closed off. It's all up here. It's all very wise, right? And I've always thought, right, great, wisdom, beautiful, but where's the aliveness in a lot of spirituality? Where's the, hold on, maybe I don't have a whole list of things I have to get through. Maybe I've met myself in my darkest places as well, and maybe the resistance is actually, I flipped the subconscious in my mind and I saw that as we try and explode out and we try and explore our themes, our joy, our passion, our interests, our excitement, really a lot of Bashar stuff, anything that restricted that was the subconscious. So the subconscious to me flipped, and I saw myself as a flower trying to explore and come at this from the sense of that I was following passion, and anything that tried to resist that, let's say shame or guilt or fear, it wasn't that they were dragging me from below. It's actually, as I was trying to flower, I would look at any places I thought I had to limit this expression. Because one of my deepest resistances growing up was not wanting to be too loud and feeling like a narcissist, thinking that you need to keep others comfortable and keep others fit in, basically. And we're all coming at this with the same knowing of infinity. So when you know you're being more and more as your infinity, it becomes less and less able to stay within the confines of limitation and definition, because you know your identity. This little cat here. So as we come out and we see that all resistance to me is not resistance of the darkness, it's really resistance of the light, the love and the joy. And so we don't bypass these negative emotions. We see that actually they're just cover-ups, they're flavors of resisting the light and the joy and the expression, because there's so much, the little cat, there's so much that's trying to come through you, whether that's in your job, whether that's your unique expression of the divine. I can't bring to the world what you can, and you can't bring to the world what I can, which is my own unique energetic expression of the absolute. And this could come in the form of inventions. Maybe you have ideas of artwork, right? I love this quote from a lady called Blue, and she said, all anxiety is just unexpressed creative potential. So many people know their potential just for love and for joy and for life, and they tend to limit that and then call it darkness. But actually, if they were allowed to explode out of their Shakti, they would see that the darkness actually transforms, not through having to go back into the shadows over and over again, but actually exploring their flowering, their blooming, their creativity. Especially, I don't know if you've ever seen this, it was a great quote from, I think it was Satya or something. Satya speaks, I love him. He said, when someone falls in love deeply with another, usually this is maybe not so much on a spiritual path, but it can be as well, but when someone falls in love with another, they find all of this potential to love, which is really to love yourself, but this creative potential to explore what it means to open up. And all of your other chores, all of your other duties, all these other darkness, you start to see, hold on, I don't have to live like this. I have so much more potential within me for love and joy, that all of that starts to dissolve, not because you've figured it out, but because you've followed your love and your inner infinity. And so sometimes the reflection of a relationship kind of surprises you just how much you've got inside that wants to crack open. And to me, vulnerability wasn't about showing up to the world as, look at me, I can show my fear, that's one thing, being okay with showing the darker emotions. But what about the repression of showing your joy? Can you see the mechanism that happens when, usually, for me, for example, by the way, I love my family. If you're watching this, my family tends to watch all my videos, but I used to suppress my expression around my father because I didn't want to upset the status quo or whatever. I didn't want to be perceived also as feminine. I didn't want to be perceived as too whatever. And so I learned to suppress this over time. And so you could say, oh, well, should be anger repression, right? This must be repressing of that, but actually it was repressing of just like a creative joy and a Shakti and a passion and a love. And I started to flip the table from thinking that I was avoiding these parts of myself, but really I was avoiding this flowering. And I wanted to put this out today because it was a flip that I really think a lot of people could benefit from, opening to what's pulling you up rather than what you think is pulling you back. So yeah, I'm going to explore today. So that was my inspiration today. I was seeing some mountain peaks. I was always thinking that the mountain peak is interesting because who you are has never gone anywhere, right? The mountain peak is a symbol of exploration and ascension, but really we're just shifting perspectives of who we are. And so the mountain peak is a symbol of that. And so the inspiration, again, is always this opening rather than having to go to the root, because Carl Jung is very correct as well. Your branches can only reach as high as your roots in the ground. But if you're only focusing on the roots, then what's going to water the upward rising, right? Even a mountain, right? The way the tectonic plates, there's so much in the ground, but you can't just focus on that. So, all right. Excitement, passion, joy, love, Shakti. This is the era of exploding, flowering, right? If you've dug enough roots, let's see them explode. Otherwise, you're just going to be a root in the ground forever. All right. Love you all.